Good morning. I call the Kansas Corporation Commission January 24th business meeting to order. I'm Susan Duffy, serving as chair of the commission, and with me today are Chair French Commissioner French and Commissioner Keene. Today on our agenda, we have 23 consent items and 4 noticed items. The first item of business is the consent agenda. I will note on the outset that the Conservation Division has requested that item number 4, 23 CONS 3130 CUNI be pulled. With that, I will first start with Commissioner Keene. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Chair Duffy. No questions or comments. It must be noted that I am recusing on consent agenda items number 2 and number 8.
Okay, number 2 is 23 CONS 3026 CEXC, and number 8 is 23 CONS 3182 CPEN. Commissioner French, do you have questions or comments?
No questions. I move approval of the consent agenda with item number 4 removed and noting Commissioner Keene's recusal on items number 2 and number 8.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, noting that we are pulling number 8 and Commissioner Keene, we are pulling number 4 and Commissioner Keene is recusing on numbers 2 and 8. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The consent agenda is approved. The first noticed item is docket number 21 BHCG 334 GIG in the matter of the investigation into Black Hills Kansas Gas Utility Company doing business as Black Hills Energy regarding the February 2021 winter weather events as contemplated by docket number 21 GIMX 303 MIX. And with us today is Assistant General Counsel David Cohen. Mr. Cohen, please.
Thank you, Chair Duffy, and good morning, Commissioners. Before you is an order which approves Black Hills application. On January 27, 2022, the Commission approved Black Hills winter weather plan to pay for the extraordinary costs of Winter Storm Uri. One of the aspects of that plan was that irrigation users would be excluded from the cost because, by definition, they weren't operating during Uri and didn't contribute to the winter weather costs. Sometime later, Black Hills became aware that some of their large volume interruptible class customers exclusively serve irrigation customers and should therefore be treated as irrigation for the purpose of determining the Winter Storm Uri surcharge. In July 2022, Black Hills filed an application to exclude some of their large volume interruptible or LVI customers from the Uri surcharge. In November 2022, Commission staff filed a report and recommendation which agree with Black Hills because the application was consistent with the principle underlying the Commission's original order. Staff had one suggestion that the LVI customers who qualify be made to annually certify and file an affidavit to that effect. No parties responded to that suggestion, and so the order agrees with staff that the application is consistent with the Commission's original order and grant the application as modified by staff's suggestion. And I am available for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. I'll turn to Commissioner French. Do you have any questions or comments, please?
No questions. Thank you.
And Commissioner Keene.
No questions either. I move approval of the order.
We have
Second.
a motion and a second to approve the order as described. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
Our
you.
next item is docket number 22 CONS 3473 CMSC. In the matter of the application of Can Oak Energy LLC for an operator's license renewal. And this is an order on petition for reconsideration. Our presenter today is Assistant General Counsel Jonathan Myers. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Chair Duffy, and good morning, Commissioners. Before you is an order that denies operator's petition for reconsideration. Operator is petitioning for reconsideration of the Commission's December 20th, 2022 order granting summary judgment, which affirmed the Commission's June 30th, 2022 order denying operator's application for license renewal. I am available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see if there are questions. I'll first start with Commissioner French
No questions. Thank you.
and Commissioner Keen.
No questions. Either I would move approval of the order.
Second.
There is a motion and a second to approve the order. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Keen?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Our next item is in the docket number 23 TRAM 448 PEN. In the matter of the investigation of Carlos Ruiz doing business as Ramey Trucking of Dodge City, Kansas, regarding the violations of the motor carrier safety statutes, rules, and regulations, and the Commission's authority to impose penalties, sanctions, and/or the revocation of motor carrier. This is a penalty order. Our presenter today is litigation staff, Hassan Latif. Mr. Latif.
Good morning, Commissioners. The penalty order before you arises out of a compliance review of Carlos M. Ruiz doing business as Ramey Trucking, a common motor carrier which hauls grain, feed, and hay operating out of Phillipsburg, Kansas. This investigation was conducted on September 20th by special investigators Penny Fryback and Erica Pargas. During the investigation, the special investigators found several violations, and the order before you assesses penalties for 9 of those violations, resulting in $12,600 in total penalties. The violations included, and I'll briefly summarize them, a $2,000 fine for submitting fraudulent annual inspections to our inspectors, a $3,000 fine for operating a CMV that had been previously placed out of service at roadside by the Highway Patrol before repairing the out of service violations were found, a $1,000 fine for failing to require a driver to submit a pre-employment drug test or drug or alcohol test, and a $3,000 fine for hauling loads that exceeded the statutory limit of 85,000 pounds. The investigators found 20 of these such violations, these overweight violations. Additionally, there were violations related to the carrier's drug and alcohol testing program and inspection practices, among others. And staff believes that this penalty order appropriately assesses penalties against the carrier and recommends approval of the order. Both I and staff are available for questions.
Thank you. And I do see we have Gary Davenport with us. I'll start with Commissioner Keen. Do you have any questions or comments?
None for me. Thank you.
And Commissioner French.
No questions. I move approval of the order in this docket.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the order in this docket. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thank you. Next matter is docket number 23 TRAM 454 PEN. In the matter of the investigation of Esslinger Construction and Ready Mix doing business as Edward O. Esslinger of Kinsley, Kansas, regarding the violations of the motor carrier safety statutes, rules, and regulations, and the Commission's authority to impose penalties, sanctions, and/or the revocation of motor carrier authority. And again, this is a penalty order, and Mr. Hassan Latif is our presenter.
Thank you. This penalty order arises out of a compliance review of Esslinger Construction, which is the common carrier that hauls aggregates and building materials operating out of Kinsley, Kansas. This investigation was conducted from October 12th to November 1st by special investigators Penny Fryback and Erica Pargas again. During this investigation, the special investigators found several violations, and the order before you assesses penalties for 12 of those violations, resulting in $7,000 in total penalties. Briefly, the violations included a $1,000 fine for failing to require its drivers to complete a record of duty status records, a $750 fine for failing to annually inspect its commercial motor vehicles, a $500 fine for operating vehicles without commercial registration, a $500 fine for using a driver that did not have a valid CDL. Additionally, there were violations related to the carrier's drug and alcohol testing program and inspection practices. Staff believes that the order before you appropriately assesses the penalties against the carrier and recommends approval of the order. Again, staff and myself are available for any questions you have.
Thank you. I'll start with Commissioner Keen. Do you have questions or comments?
None for me, thank you.
And Commissioner French?
No questions. Move approval of the order.
Second,
There's a motion and a second to approve the order. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote aye.
aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Latif and Mr. Davenport.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, it looks like we have completed our agenda for today. Are there any other matters to come before the commission? And I'll start with Commissioner Keen. Do you have any other matters?
None for me, thank you. I would move that we adjourn.
Second.
There is a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I believe you did say aye, Commissioner Keen. I did not hear it, but
Say aye.
you're nodding assent. Very good. The motion is approved. We are adjourned. Thank you for your time today.
Take care.